Have you ever gotten the sinking feeling that someone's affection might be more performance than sincerity? Perhaps their words are too polished, their gifts too timed, or their attention too conveniently fleeting. In a world brimming with social cues and masked intentions, it's easy to miss the signs of faked warmth until disappointment strikes. Today, we'll walk through 10 distinct indicators that someone's affection may be an act, weaving these signs into a single flowing narrative. By the end, you'll have fresh, concrete insights to help you read between the lines and protect your emotional well-being. If these pointers resonate and you value honest connections, I'd appreciate if you like, share, or subscribe, so we can keep uncovering the subtle truths that shape our relationships. Now, let's begin. 1. Their compliments feel overly extravagant and repetitive. A common sign of faked affection is an avalanche of compliments that sound grand but ring hollow. Picture someone who praises your outfit with flowery adjectives daily, yet never seems genuinely curious about your life or feelings. While sincere admiration has depth, pointing out something specific or meaningful, forced compliments often rely on superlatives without substance. They might call you the most amazing person ever 3 times in one conversation, but can't recall your favorite activity. In many cases, these compliments aim to boost your ego quickly, establishing false closeness. True compliments emerge organically, often highlighting details the giver has genuinely noticed, like how you solved a tough problem or the subtle color choice in your artwork. But a constant bombardment of generic praise can feel like a script, a tactic to lull you into believing they care more deeply than they do. People engaging in this behavior often avoid revealing anything personal about themselves, flipping each exchange back to flattering you. It's less a two-way connection and more a performance. Stoic thinkers would suggest paying attention to what's behind those words. Are they accompanied by consistent, honest actions over time, or do they vanish when you actually need support? Additionally, forced flattery can leave you uneasy, even if you can't pinpoint why. That unease might signal your intuition picking up on the mismatch between praise and genuine interest. Watch for a pattern. If they rarely ask follow-up questions or show real concern for your experiences, but lavish you with superficial praise, the affection could be a mask. Over the long run, these empty compliments tend to lose their charm, exposing the performer's shallow approach. A sincere bond, by contrast, balances thoughtful compliments with genuine curiosity and empathy, far more substantial than flattery for flattery's sake. 2. They evade deep or uncomfortable topics. Another telling sign of manufactured affection is when someone persistently dodges meaningful conversations. While no one revels in difficult topics all the time, a caring partner or friend is generally willing to engage in deeper discussions, be it future plans, personal worries, or past traumas. But if each attempt to dig beneath surface-level chat meets with a joke, a swift topic change, or awkward silence, they might be preserving a false closeness that can't handle genuine depth. Picture trying to share a personal struggle, maybe stress at work or lingering family issues. A person who truly cares might lean in, ask clarifying questions, or at least listen attentively. But someone faking affection could appear impatient or contrive an excuse to exit the conversation. They might say, "I'd rather stay positive," or "You're strong, you'll figure it out," deflecting any real engagement. To the Stoics, genuine relationships demand an element of moral and emotional support, even if the subject matter is uncomfortable. Cautious avoidance of complex discussions suggests they're invested only in the easy parts of connecting: praise, light banter, fleeting fun. They might call you buddy or darling, but as soon as deeper vulnerability emerges, they retreat. This pattern preserves an illusion of warmth while skirting the emotional responsibilities that come with true companionship. It's not about forcing heavy chats on them constantly, but about noticing if they systematically resist anything that requires empathy. Over months, you'll sense a gap. Your deeper feelings remain unheard. Stoics advocated self-awareness in relationships, encouraging you to observe whether a person's reluctance stems from genuine discomfort or from lacking genuine concern. If repeated attempts to connect beneath small talk fail, it's likely they're unwilling or unable to offer real emotional support. Such shallowness may indicate they're feigning affection rather than forging a lasting, empathetic bond. 3. Their actions and words often contradict each other. Consistency is the backbone of genuine care. A person faking affection might talk about loyalty, closeness, or always being there for you, yet vanish the moment you actually need help. Stoic philosophy reminds us that true character emerges from alignment between statements and deeds. If someone's sweet promises never materialize into real effort, like showing up when you're sick or following through on supportive gestures, there's a disconnect pointing to insincerity. Imagine a colleague who insists, "I've got your back," each time you face a deadline, but frequently forgets to finish their part, causing you extra work. Or a friend who says they totally understand you, but fails to recall your schedule or important events. This gap between talk and follow-through suggests an affection performed mainly for show. The cost to them, time, energy, or genuine emotional investment, remains absent. Stoics, such as Epictetus, stressed that true intentions naturally reflect inconsistent actions. Words alone lack substance unless reinforced by practice. If you find yourself constantly rationalizing someone's contradictory behaviors, maybe they just had a rough day. Repeated too often, it might be a sign they're faking interest. The difference between a slip-up and a pattern is key. Anyone can make a mistake once, but repeated mismatches indicate a deeper issue. Additionally, you might observe how they handle conflict or small inconveniences. If they vow to be patient or supportive but erupt in frustration at minor friction, it reveals a facade. Over repeated interactions, you see they prefer the easy applause of affectionate words, but shy from the actual demands of caring when it's not convenient. In short, keep an eye on how consistently they align with their professed loyalty, empathy, or commitment. A genuine friend or partner might not always get it right, but they'll strive to act in ways that match their promises. Someone faking it may lavish you with claims, but fail in the simplest gestures that give real warmth meaning. 4. They avoid involving you in their personal life. Another distinct sign that affection might be contrived is how the person isolates you from their real world. True intimacy generally involves mutual sharing, introducing each other to friends, occasionally merging social circles, or at least letting you glimpse their family context. If they're consistently evasive about letting you meet their close connections or see where they live, it's worth questioning the authenticity of their professed closeness. Think of someone who claims you mean so much to them, yet refuses every invitation to group gatherings or events that involve more of their personal circle. If months roll by with excuses like, "I'm not ready," or "they won't understand our bond," you might be dealing with a superficial or hidden agenda. Stoics would ask, what does this consistent avoidance reveal about their true intentions? Possibly they're worried their story might unravel under scrutiny, or that actual merging of worlds might demand more sincerity than they're willing to give. Even smaller signals, like refusing to chat about their background, never giving direct answers about their daily routines, or brushing off any curiosity, suggest they're shielding large portions of their reality. If they truly cared, wouldn't they want you to know at least some personal details? Of course, everyone has boundaries, but perpetually skirting normal levels of sharing can hint at a contrived relationship. Another angle is noticing whether they exclusively contact you in private contexts, like only calling late at night or texting while never wanting to go out publicly. It might mean they're presenting a facade of affection that they don't want others to witness. Over time, it fosters a sense that you remain in a side compartment of their life, not integrated into any genuine aspect of it. Stoic perspectives on relationships emphasize honesty and coherence. If someone's forcibly segmenting you away from their broader environment, it can be a defense mechanism to preserve a story that might collapse under real social interaction. Recognizing this pattern helps you question if you're dealing with genuine warmth or a carefully curated show. 5. They frequently change their tone depending on who is around. A telling sign of faked affection is inconsistent demeanor. The person acts warm and attentive in private, but suddenly becomes distant or even dismissive when others join in. Genuine care typically remains stable across different settings. You don't abruptly transform your approach based on the audience. But someone feigning affection may modulate their behavior, revealing that their closeness is situational or performance-driven. Imagine how disheartening it feels if you're receiving affectionate gestures when you're alone, soft compliments, thoughtful questions. But the moment friends or coworkers enter the room, the dynamic flips. They might ignore your comments or speak to you in a less friendly tone, anxious to maintain a different image. This mismatch signals they're not consistently invested. They're playing a role that shifts with convenience. Stoics like Seneca argued that the core of integrity is being the same person in the presence or absence of spectators. If your friend or partner changes color like a chameleon, kind in private, aloof, or even critical in public, they're likely pleasing someone else's expectations rather than fostering a real bond. It might be about status, fear of judgment, or simple disinterest. Meanwhile, you're left puzzled or hurt by these rapid mood swings. Additionally, watch for disclaimers like, "Oh, that's just how I act around certain people," repeated too often. A slip here or there can be chalked up to social nerves, but consistent pattern indicates a willingness to adapt affection to the setting. Over time, that adaptability is less about sincerity and more about performance. The result is that you never feel fully secure in how they treat you. You remain uncertain which version of them you'll get. Genuine affection, by contrast, runs deeper than the immediate environment. They might tone down public displays if they're shy, but they won't flip your worth from cherished to ignored. Stoic moral clarity suggests that real relationships exhibit consistency. If you see wild fluctuations based on who's watching, it's a strong warning they might be faking their warmth. 6. They offer grand gestures, but no subtle daily support. One more giveaway that affection might be staged: lavish displays, expensive gifts, dramatic surprises, or over-the-top compliments, contrasted with minimal everyday kindness. Stoics note that true care is often revealed in small, consistent acts rather than showy, occasional spectacles. If you see a pattern of big gestures that overshadow genuine day-to-day involvement, it may indicate they're masking a lack of real effort. Picture a partner who showers you with an extravagant birthday party or pricey jewelry, but won't lend an ear when you've had a tough day or skip out on helping you with minor tasks. The disparity is telling. Grand gestures get public applause and paint them as attentive, but the daily emotional or practical support is absent. Over time, this mismatch can breed confusion. They spend so much money on me, so why do I still feel unsupported? Stoic principles emphasize substance over flash. Epictetus would argue that consistent, smaller efforts, like remembering to message you on a rough morning or offering to do errands when you're swamped, suggest a deeper bond. Meanwhile, grand gestures can be more about controlling an image than nurturing a relationship. If you attempt to address your ongoing emotional or logistical needs, and they brush it off as insignificant, it raises the question: is their affection actually about your well-being or about looking impressive? That's not to say big gestures are always fake, of course, but watch for whether these spectacles align with consistent presence. A Stoic mindset seeks everyday synergy between words and deeds. If they're truly invested, they'll balance special gifts or surprises with unwavering little acts that show you matter in the mundane. If you find the ratio skewed, lots of show, no real follow-up, take it as a sign that their affection might be more of a staged performance than a genuine, long-term investment in your life. 7. They miraculously appear only when it's convenient for them. Another hallmark of contrived affection is the person's tendency to pop up only when it suits their needs, be that emotional validation, financial advantage, or just boredom relief. While vanishing at times, you could use actual help or companionship. Genuine relationships exhibit reciprocity, where you're there for each other in good times and bad. But someone faking it may reappear just when they want something from you, praising you as if no gap ever existed. Maybe you notice a friend or lover goes radio silent during your stressful weeks. ignoring your texts if they sense you're seeking support. Yet they return with sweet words whenever they're lonely, bored, or need a favor. This pattern signals you might be an option, not a priority. Stoics emphasize the synergy of consistent presence, so sporadic convenience-driven appearances reflect something shallow. If questioned, they might give excuses, "Life's been so busy," or "I was dealing with personal stuff." While those can be valid occasionally, repeated usage implies they're managing multiple fronts, ensuring they invest minimal energy while gaining maximum benefit. Over time, you feel a subtle sense of being used because they aren't there in your crucial moments, but demand your attention in theirs. Moreover, you might observe how quickly they revert to affectionate talk when they return. The sudden reintroduction of pet names, flattery, or confessions of missing you can be jarring if they neglected you during a challenging period. That abrupt pivot from absence to intense warmth is a red flag of performance, not emotional depth. Stoic clarity urges you to see that real care is proven through consistency, especially when it's inconvenient. If they only show up for the easy or self-serving parts, it's likely a sign their affection is more self-centered than genuinely shared. Identifying this cycle helps you step out of the confusion, possibly setting boundaries or reevaluating the relationship entirely. 8. They have a pattern of reusing the same lines or gestures with different people. If someone's affection is more theatrical than sincere, you might catch them recycling the same sweet lines, the same style of flattery, or even identical special dates with multiple individuals. Instead of personalizing their care to suit who you are, they rely on a scripted formula that's worked for them before. While we all have certain go-to expressions, genuine affection usually adapts to the uniqueness of each relationship. A Stoic perspective suggests scanning for whether your interactions feel tailored or mass-produced. For instance, they might use a catchphrase like, "You're the only one who truly gets me." Yet you hear from mutual acquaintances that they said precisely the same line to them. Or they plan a surprise outing for you that exactly mirrors a date they had last month with another friend, down to the same restaurant or same end-of-night gift. This sort of carbon-copied approach raises the question, are you just a part in a repeated script? Stoics prize authenticity, recognizing that each bond thrives on sincerity. If you sense the gestures are suspiciously uniform, it indicates they're not investing genuine thought into your preferences or your dynamic. In a romantic context, maybe they talk about your amazing style, but you learn they complimented a past flame the same way, ignoring that person's entirely different aesthetic. The flattery is generic, absent of real observation. Now, it's not that reusing a favorite spot or phrase is inherently deceitful, but the distinction lies in whether they adapt or enhance it for you, or simply plug you into their standard formula. Over time, these small red flags accumulate. Stoics would advise stepping back. Are they truly seeing me, or am I playing a role in their pre-written routine? If the latter, their affection likely lacks real depth. When you pinpoint these replays, you free yourself from illusions. Noticing that you're just following a pattern they apply to everyone can spur you to question, is this bond meaningful, or a performance that anyone could fill? That clarity helps you guard your emotional space, ensuring you invest in relationships shaped by genuine, evolving connection rather than a recycled script of empty gestures. 9. Their support suddenly vanishes when the situation is hard or unrewarding. Fake affection often unravels the moment your needs become inconvenient. Up until then, they might shower you with mild help or symbolic gestures, but when genuine hardships arrive, they're nowhere to be found. Stoics emphasize that real solidarity manifests most powerfully under strain. If your friend or partner ghosts you as soon as financial or emotional burdens appear, it signals their earlier warmth was conditional, seeking minimal hassle but maximum benefit. Imagine how jarring it feels when you face a health scare, only to find the person who claimed undying support avoids your calls. Or if a coworker seemed helpful but disappears when you're overwhelmed, forcing you to pick up extra slack alone. Their pattern might be, I'm here for quick wins, like easy outings or celebrations, but I don't do crises. The Stoic viewpoint clarifies that this reveals the true bedrock of their concern. If it burdens them, they back off. Moreover, you might detect a shift in their tone. Once your challenge arises, they make excuses, deflect responsibility, or suddenly recall pressing obligations. If it's a one-time scenario, maybe life truly intervened, but consistent vanishing suggests a facade. Over time, that repeated breach of presence is telling. Stoics would say, their virtue in caring is tested by difficulty. Failing that test repeatedly indicates superficiality. When you confront them, they might spin the story to avoid accountability, claiming they didn't realize the seriousness or that you never explicitly asked for help. But genuine empathy sees unspoken cues and shows up regardless. A Stoic approach reminds you that real loyalty endures inconvenience. The person who only loves the good times is more of a fair-weather ally than a supportive presence. Recognizing this pattern can be painful, but it's also freeing. By identifying those who vanish when stakes rise, you protect yourself from ongoing disappointment. You shift your energy toward forging relationships with individuals who, even if they can't solve your problem, stand by you in the storm. A hallmark of authentic care, not the hollow performance of affection. 10. They never evolve the relationship beyond the initial feel-good stage. Finally, a strong signal of counterfeit affection is if the relationship plateaus in a perpetual honeymoon-like state without deepening or progressing. Stoic thinking reminds us that all genuine bonds grow over time, confronting challenges, exploring new facets of each other, and adapting as life changes. If someone's affection is stuck on surface-level positivity, refusing to tackle bigger questions or step into more committed territory, it may be a front. Perhaps you sense a mismatch. You share deeper personal goals or propose bigger joint activities, but they sidestep it with, "Let's not complicate things," or "I prefer it how it is now." While everyone moves at different paces, a refusal to move at all can indicate they want the easy emotional high of light fun or easy closeness, without the responsibilities or vulnerability that come with real affection. Stoics would point out that genuine relationships are tested by growth, the willingness to adapt to each other's evolving needs. Additionally, you might discover they're quick to keep you at arm's length. No talk of future holidays together, zero mention of supporting each other's ambitions, or no open conversation about mutual goals if this is a romantic setting. They relish the initial spark, but never let the flame deepen into lasting warmth. Over time, you realize the relationship remains an endless cycle of fleeting excitement or flattery without building a stable foundation. Epictetus would emphasize that a relationship's substance emerges in shared experiences and moral alignment, not just fleeting good vibes. If every attempt to push beyond the feel-good stage fails, you might be dealing with someone faking or at least limiting affection to a shallow tier. While it might remain pleasant in short bursts, it rarely satisfies the human craving for deeper, more meaningful bonding. By spotting this sign, you avoid getting stuck in illusions of a serious connection, when in reality, they're comfortable only in that breezy zone. Real affection, in Stoic terms, entails mutual evolution, tackling adversity, and being open to the vulnerability of forging real ties. If they consistently dodge growth, that's a glaring clue that their affection might be more staged than substantial. Contrived affection can be tough to spot. Charming words, generous gestures, or timely compliments often mask what's missing beneath the surface. Across these 10 distinct signs, from inconsistent effort to big talk, but minimal follow-through, you'll see patterns that reveal a performance rather than genuine warmth. If you recognize these flags in your interactions, it's a cue to reevaluate the bond for your emotional well-being. And if you found these insights helpful, I'd be grateful for a like, share, or subscription. Let's keep exploring practical ways to build real connections free from pretense. Here's to relationships grounded in truth, empathy, and steady action, rather than hollow displays of affection.